Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Nightline. I hope you've been enjoying the program so far. I want to remind you to keep going to the phones, 244-1616. We got live prayer partners standing by to take your call, to pray with you, and believe with you that your needs are going to be met. Our next guest is evident of how God still works in people's lives and how He still heals and changes people, that's for sure. Jerry West, thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here, Dante.
And Jerry, we've been talking a little bit before, and man, you've done it all. You've been everywhere. You've done everything. You've seen everything. And where do we begin with you?
I feel like the old Johnny Cash song, "I've been everywhere, man."
That's it, man. It's you.
It's like a friend of mine said, "I've been all over the world, but yet I've seen nothing." Fly into a city at the airport, go somewhere, get back, and now it's time. In our season of life, now it's time to start enjoying a whole lot more. But we're still active in ministry.
Good.
Almost 29 years.
Wow.
And
well, now your television career, and you told me not to bring this up, but I'm
going to anyway.
I'm the host. I can do what I want.
That's right.
3 years old, you started in television.
I did. And
Lawrence
Lawrence, the Lawrence Welk. Thank you, boys. Bring on the bubble machine. And I grew up in Vero Beach, Florida, the home of the Dodgers. Was then home spring training of the Dodgers. And I guess they were doing something, taking their concerts on the road. And there's little 3-year-old me dancing around where the orchestra is. And then years later, they're doing a rerun. And I think I was 11 or 12. And Mom and Dad, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, come here. I'm like, I don't want to watch Lawrence Welk. It's just not cool. And I'm like, oh no. Please, Lord, don't let any of my friends see this. But now I'm trying to get the footage.
Yeah, I wish we had that to roll in.
I do too, because I want to pass it along. I have 2 grandchildren. I want to say, this is what your pop did when he was little. Yeah. And so that my daughter can be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Oh, I got 2 daughters and a son. My son, he's not quite to the embarrassment stage, and my middle daughter, she's getting there. But that 8-year-old, I know how to embarrass her good. So.
You're a good parent when you can embarrass your kids. You're a great parent when they're adult children and still can embarrass them.
And you still can. I don't think I'll lose it. That's for sure.
It's a gift.
Because I can definitely do it to my wife every day. I'm embarrassing that one.
Oh, my wife does too. She goes, "Oh dear Lord, why did he say that?" Oh, Jesus.
They deserve it.
She's my number 1 intercessor. She goes like, oh God.
Non-stop.
She's pretty much.
Praise without ceasing with you then. Wow. Well, now you lived in Florida and you hosted the local TBN down there for a while. Tell us about that.
13 years. I was being interviewed, and the interviewer was really not, I hate to say it, but wasn't that great.
Wasn't like Dante Thompson.
Nothing like you. I mean, you're a handsome and powerful man, and he's a great interviewer. So I went to the station manager. I said, how do you get to be a host? He goes, well, you come in, do a test interview, and we did. He goes, okay, you're going to start hosting next week. Oh, okay. And having done television and with Strike Force, which is the team of athletes that I was with, I'm used to doing radio and television interviews and newspaper and going into different cities. So for us, it was a natural fit. We're just trading seats and be able to have pastors on different ministries and have them to get their ministries exposure that they needed.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun.
Right.
And we enjoyed it.
I love hosting regional. I've never done national per se, but people ask me, well, who have you interviewed? And I've interviewed some big name guys, but I'm with you. I'd rather interview the local people that's making an impact right here in the community.
They're making a difference.
And it's just awesome like that. I tell people all the time that people can sit here and they'll watch whoever on the national fill-in-the-blank level on Channel 16, but when somebody gets saved, they're not going to go to Texas to go to Joel Osteen's church.
That's right.
They're going to have to find a local church to go to.
That's it.
That's what I love about local pastors.
We wanted local pastors and to be able to say, this is what we're doing to make a difference. Not to advertise your church. What are you doing to make a difference? Yeah. What are you doing in your community? What are you doing? We had a I can't think of the name of it now, it was called The Source, that was the name. They were not a homeless shelter, they were a homeless resource center that helped people get back on their feet.
Awesome.
It wasn't just a handout, it was a handout and a hand up. We're going to teach you how to do things.
Right.
We're going to get you, and for some, they couldn't do that, but for a lot, they did. Get them in the marketplace, get the jobs, and find them a place to live, get them off the streets. They would not have gotten that kind of exposure. And I enjoyed sitting there talking and hearing the success stories, because you don't always get to hear those.
Right.
So
and
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot of fun for us, and it was a great, great for them, because when it came fundraising time, because they depended on that, people had a name that they could link it to. And
exactly.
so it was great. We enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned Strike Force just a second ago. You were a big bodybuilder and ripping the newspapers, not newspapers, that's more my level, phone books,
Tearing phone books in half. And
is there a trick to that, or is it just brute strength?
It's not a trick, and it's not brute strength. There's technique and strength.
Okay.
If you know the technique, I know guys who have tried. I've seen guys 300+ pound bodybuilders couldn't even rip the first page, and I'm probably 40 pounds lighter than them, and grab it and just
rip.
There's strength and there's technique. And I'd say the funny thing is, learn how to do it, because when my daughter was getting married, or about to be married, I took one of our phone books, which was about that thick, and I took it and I went to my future son-in-law, and I said, if I could do that to a phone book.
I need to learn that then.
And
that'll be good. I got 2 girls,
That's right. Thank God I only had the one daughter.
Well, now, with that and the handcuffs and all, I mean, I remember going to seeing the power team when I was a kid. That was so cool, but what was so neat, looking back, people were getting saved over these big guys, talking about Jesus, ripping phone books in half,
Well, that was our entry or key to get into. Look, people come see spectacular. They want to see the spectacular. Even still in 2018, they're drawn to the spectacular. They still are. And then we could preach Jesus, present the gospel in a way that they may have never heard before. And we've seen thousands and thousands and thousands every year come to the Lord. It was just, not just kids, but families. I remember in one crusade, there was a mother on one side of the church, and there was a daughter on the other side, had not spoken to each other in, I think, 8 or 9 years.
Did they even know that they were there?
They didn't even know they were there.
Wow.
Gave the invitation, here comes mom, and here comes daughter, and they meet at the altar, give their lives to Christ, and reconcile their relationship.
Wow.
So it's more than just, for us, it was more than salvation. It was seeing families changed. And that's one of the, many of hundreds and hundreds of memories.
Wow.
But that one stands out the most.
How long did you tour with them?
I did the Feats of Strength Ministries for 14 years.
Wow. That's a long while.
And it's almost feeling like a football player some mornings. Get up.
Well, I saw your ring, and I thought it was a football ring.
A lot of people think it's either a World Series or a Super Bowl ring. I said, boy, I wish.
Yeah.
But that was my anniversary ring of being with the ministry.
Cool. And well, during this time, I mean, you're a healthy guy. You're lifting weights. I mean, you're traveling. But in 2005. What
Father's
happened?
Day weekend. It was strange, because I'm a type A personality, just go, 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 go. I was doing funerals and weddings. I was an associate pastor of a church that pretty much ran the church for the pastor, because he was going into his senior years, and his health was starting to decline a little bit. So I was pretty much running everything, and my wife was his personal assistant. But I was getting tired, and just for no reason.
Right.
I would go home 2, 3 in the afternoon and sleep for 3 hours, which is that's not like me. And finally just had a physical breakdown. I can't go anymore. So went to the doctor, they did blood work, and he said, you need to get to this doctor. Went to him, he did x-rays. He says, you have the back of an 80-year-old man. And he goes, you're 42. He goes, something's not right. We need more tests. And the doctor called, said, your hemoglobin, which is your total blood volume, is 5.7. I said, okay, that's nice. Okay, he goes, no, you need to be in the hospital. I said, nah, I'll be okay. Well, I didn't know, through sheer ignorance, I didn't know. That would be the equivalent of taking a Corvette, driving it at max speed on 2 quarts of oil. Eventually, something's going to give. They get me to the ER. They start IVs and blood, started doing blood products right away. The doctor said, I think this is a type of cancer, because we can't find internal bleeding. They called an oncologist in, which was a personal friend. And she said, I think I know what this is, but we're going to have to do a bone marrow biopsy, which is very painful. And she came back, that was on a Friday, and came back in on Monday, the day after Father's Day, and said it's positive for multiple myeloma. This is a blood cancer, and it's in the end stage, and took my wife outside and said, he's got 3 months.
When you hear that at 42, where does your mind go?
You know, Dante, I've grown up in church, and you say, all you need is faith. Faith is not denying that there's an issue. Faith is saying, okay, we have an issue, now let's get through it. What happened in those few minutes after she told me what was, I just blanked out. That's the last thing you want to hear. Cancer is the only word that needs no translation. Well, I should say it's one of the few words in our language, the English language, that needs no translation in any part of the world. They may have in their native tongue, but if I go to Russia, if I go to Peru, if I go to wherever and say cancer, they know what I'm talking about. That does not need any translation. But we had a promise from God. After I came to, they said, well, what do you do when your heart hits the floor? So you pick it up. You just don't leave it there, you pick it up. And they told the doctor told my wife outside, said he's got 3 months to live, but if he does, we're going to send him to Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa. They're the #1 hospital in the nation that can treat this. And you know, waking up on day 90, and you know, 3 months is 90 days. Waking up on day 91 and 92, that's a pretty good feeling.
It's got to be.
You feel pretty, okay, now we've gotten over this. I went through 2 stem cell transplants where they harvested my own stem cells, reintroduced them to recreate a new immune system. First one was great, second one not so great. I had allergic reaction to the chemotherapy. I'm the 4th person in history. I said, yay, I'm in the history books. My name's in the history. Not for the right reason. I don't want to do this again.
If the cancer doesn't kill me, the medicine will.
Hey, check it out. Look, here's my legacy. I'm in the medical, I'm in the AMA. And, but we had a promise from God.
Well, from day one where they told you have 90 days, is it hit the ground running, or do they give you time to, when do you start treatments on something like that? They started
treatments pretty, almost immediately. Radiation, different kind of medicines to try to bring the numbers down. Every cancer has a tumor or number, and they were trying to bring it down so they could get do the transplant, the stem cell transplant. And I just very weak, tired. I went from 220 to 155 pounds in about 6 weeks.
Wow. How about your marriage during this time? How did your wife cope with it? How did y'all's relationship grow or weaken?
It grew. When I say grew, we never talked death. We never talked time limits. That was not allowed to be spoken. I'm a happy-go-lucky, gregarious. I love to joke around, have fun, and we kept that atmosphere. And my daughter was 18 and my son was 15, and it's a terrible feeling to have your 15-year-old son have to pick you up out of your chair and almost carry you to your bedroom so you can go to bed. But my family, this is it. And my wife had a note on the door: if you come through this door crying, turn around and leave, because we're not going to deal with this. And she will tell you, if she was here today, she said, she had her moments, but nobody knew. She would lock herself in the garage in the laundry room and just break down and cry, wipe her tears, wipe her face, come back in, and everything was business as usual. And she stayed with me in Tampa in isolation, slept on a cot. First time was, I believe, 7 weeks. In
isolation. I mean, when she's in there with you, she can't go.
Well, she could go out, but she had to scrub. And if you were to want to come visit me, they would tell you, oh, you're going to have to scrub, put a cap, gown,
because this kills your immunity completely. I mean, a cold will take you out at that point.
If you had the sniffles, it could have killed me.
Yeah. Wow.
And she just, we just grew together. And one thing that we did every night as a family, even in the hospital, we took communion.
Wow. Every night?
Every night.
Wow.
The nights that I was so weak that I couldn't talk, my wife would do it.
Uh-huh.
And this is what we'd say, Lord, my body's broken. Your body was broken for us, but mine is really broken.
Right.
My blood is imperfect. Yours is perfect. I need a transfusion from heaven. And we stuck to that. I don't want to call it a routine, but we stuck to it.
Yeah.
Because not only did he die for the remission of our sins, but for the remission of sickness and disease and infirmity.
Yeah.
And when it says you have not properly discerned the Lord's body.
Yeah.
And when I got a hold of that revelation that I have not really discerned the Lord's body. So I've heard it growing up in church, and you've heard it too. If you take communion in an unworthy manner, well, none of us are worthy.
Right.
There's none worthy. No, the only one worthy was Jesus, and he's the one that gave his life on the cross for us.
Yeah.
And we did that every night. And I would say it, and when I could, it's, Lord, I need a transfusion from heaven.
Wow.
My blood is imperfect. Yours is perfect. I need to transfuse me from heaven.
Yeah.
And we stuck to it. And they let me come home in August of 2006, toward the end of August. Because, that time you're on so many different medications, things are kind of hazy.
Yeah.
And I was watching a guy on another channel, Christian station, and he mentioned the scriptures, as Nahum chapter 1, verse 9 says, what you conspire against the Lord, he'll make an utter end of it. Affliction will not come back a second time. Well, that was a different context, but you put it in today's context. What's conspiracy? Mm-hmm. Anything that's against you. Mm-hmm. Cancer was against me.
Yeah.
And instantly, I felt energized. I felt, wow, I haven't felt this way in a long time. I got up and walking around. Nobody had to help me walk around.
Wow.
Grabbed my cell phone and said, honey, you're not going to believe this, but it's happened.
Yeah.
She goes, what's happened? I said, I'm healed. She goes, I'm calling the doctor. Called the doctor, says, bring him in. So we need to do some blood work. I'm like, really? Come on, can't you just take my word for take God's word?
Yeah, take my word. I'm healed. Leave me alone now.
Take my word for it. Take God's own. And she drew like 10 vials of blood.
Oh my goodness, they're going to empty out. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, you just filled me back up. Now you're going to drain me again? Come on. You ever get whiny? Of course, men, we're the worst. We get whiny. And she called.
Well, after a year and a half, or almost a year and a half of this, you deserve to be a little bit whiny.
Yeah, I did. I think I deserved that. And she, excuse me, she had called and she said, Pastor, we can't find any evidence of cancer in your body.
Wow. Can
you come back in a few days and let's run more tests? I'm like, no. No. He said, yes, you need to. So I do. Go back, and she walks in the room. Now, by this time, most people's medical charts are like this thick. Mine, it looks like it's, you couldn't
have ripped it like the phone.
No, I could not have ripped that one in half. And she says, I cannot explain this. She said, this is a miracle.
Now, this was a friend of yours.
She was an hematologist oncologist.
And is she a believer?
I think so. It's kind of one of those I
was going to ask, how did this affect her if she was an unbeliever? I mean, when you see a miracle like this, and you're a doctor or somebody in a professional realm or scientific realm like that, I've seen, we've had so many praise reports here that doctors be saved over the miracles that they've seen. So I wasn't sure how that affected her at all.
Well, she had a different belief system.
She thinks the chemo and everything did it.
And no, she says that had a hand in it, but God had to have stepped in.
Excellent.
Now, I had 3 different doctors. The other doctor says, wow, I have never seen this kind of turnaround with this type of cancer. And I said, well, let me tell you what the turnaround was. Yeah. The turnaround is Jesus.
Exactly.
And I'm starting to preach to her, and she goes, yeah, that's nice, and starts flipping the pages. Okay, well, I'll see you in 6 months. And every time I go back, it's like, okay.
Wow.
See you in 6, and that's the protocol. You follow the protocol. She says, I'll see you in 6 months. And now that we moved from Florida to here, and to the Atlanta area and going through Emory, this is what's so cool. You have to stay on a maintenance program. You have to do your due diligence. And my doctor in Tampa said, I want you to see this doctor. He's very good. He's a personal friend. I do all the paperwork. I get a phone call. Didn't recognize the number. It's my cousin. He is my oncologist's personal assistant.
Oh, wow.
You got to be kidding me. I said, the kid, when I was in high school, that I used to rock when you guys would come to Florida on vacation, is now in charge of my health care. He goes, yeah, pretty much. And now it's just like a mini family reunion. He and I get together every few months, and that's at the doctor's office. He goes, yeah, you're fine. I said, everything looks good.
Wow.
So I'll see you in 3 months.
So since 2007, so what's it, 11 years? So no cancer, nothing at all.
Every time it tries to rear its ugly head, we say, no, not today, devil.
Wow, that's awesome.
Not today.
That's awesome.
And I wish, Dante, I wish I could explain healing. I really do. I have a friend right now in Daytona, in Florida, that's battling the same type, and it's taking a different route.
Yeah.
I wished I could explain it, but never lose hope, never give up faith in Jesus.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was sharing with you, and many of the viewers know, multiple myeloma is what killed my mother. And she was a lot older than you were, and they diagnosed it, and it was either late September, early October of 2010, and she died on March 3rd, 2011, so not very long at all. But on March 3rd, 2011, she got the ultimate healing.
That's right.
So, I mean, yes, you look at it from an earthly standpoint that, okay, Jerry West got healed, but my mother died. This isn't fair, or this isn't right. But we've got an appointment with death one day.
We're not going to leave this world.
Yeah.
We're going to leave this world two ways. Either Jesus is going to come back, or we're going to go out in a box.
Exactly.
Or in a urn.
Yeah.
Either way.
But either way, I mean, God is faithful to heal.
Yeah.
He's faithful, and at the end of the day, it's in His hands.
That's
right.
right.
And it's His ultimate plan for whatever we got going on in our lives. But we need to have that faith that you had. That's for sure. And I believe that your testimony tonight is being an encouragement right now to somebody watching tonight. That's for sure.
Well, I've got a friend of mine says, you got that bulldog kind of faith. I said, okay, explain that. He said, you sink your teeth into anything and you refuse to let go.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm a type. That's my personality. If I'm going to get into something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it halfway.
Well, and it's easy to do when we have the promises, and that, we being in the ministry, we see these things happening all the time. This is yet another testimony of the countless ones that I've heard. I'm sure before you were sick, you had heard them. Now, I've never experienced anything like you've gone through. So I'm sure at that time, it weighed on your faith a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
But I mean, it's easy to do when we have those promises and we see the evidence of His faithfulness.
Well, I remember, Dante, one morning waking up, I was just, the pain was just, because it affected my back. It affects, multiple myeloma affects your bone marrow. And I had 5 broken vertebrae.
My goodness, I bet you were hurting.
And I was just, the pain, you can't describe bone pain. It's just hard to describe. And I remember waking up one morning and the pain was just unbearable. And I just grabbed a pillow and put it over my face. I wasn't trying to do anything. I just didn't want my daughter in the next room to hear me. I said, God, I'm ready. But there's a problem. I don't want to die yet. And I don't want to be in heaven because you promised me things I've not seen come to pass. And you're a God that does not lie, so you need to do what your word says, and that's heal me.
Yeah.
That was a mental turnaround for me. I'd gotten enough strength to make it to the bathroom. I'm holding on to the sink, and I look up. Right above the mirror, my wife had put Ephesians 3:20. Wow. Now unto Him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we dare ask or think, according to the power that works in me. So it works in God. God's already done the work. Now we got to accept the work.
Exactly.
And we hung on to that.
Yeah.
So we just kept pushing forward.
Wow.
And now here we are almost 29 years later in ministry, traveling all over America and different parts of the world, doing seminars, we do a few marriage conferences.
How long have you been married now? 29?
We have been married 35 years.
Wow. Any grandbabies yet?
We have 2.
Oh, congratulations.
7 and almost 5.
Awesome.
A boy and a girl. And they are night and day. The boy is just as gentle and loving. My granddaughter, Fiona, she is girly, but other part is a tomboy. She will dive off the top of the top bunk in their bed.
That's funny.
And with pink fingernail polish on.
That sounds like my Avery, that's for sure. Well, you're just down the street, Lawrenceville, hour and a half, maybe hour and 45 minutes. So if people want to, of course, you're active in your church.
Yes.
But if people want to have you come and do a seminar or a conference, or if they want to come down and see you in Lawrenceville, and you're doing so much more we didn't even scratch the surface on. Of course, website jerrywestministries.com, and of course his email right there, Jerry West.
There it is.
men@gmail.com. But is that the best way to get a hold of you there? So your email?
Get through email. And we're also on Facebook. Our ministry is on Facebook, JWMINTL. On Facebook. You can keep up with day-to-day things, and we'll put inspirational quotes up there.
Excellent.
We want to be relevant in ministry, not stayed and dried. We have a drama that we've done for years. We wrote it in 1995, and we did it, Dante. We did it on a whim. And it's okay. This is good. It's either going to sink or swim. This is either God doing it or we're trying. If God's doing it, it's going to work. If we're not, it's going to fail. 4 little thrown together scenes, and 300 people got saved.
Wow. That's
and
amazing.
we brought it's called The Decision. I play the devil. Now, some people say, well, how do you play the devil? Well, I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I had great role models.
Yes.
And since we put it back into production in 2009 until beginning of this year, we've seen 16,000 people saved.
Man, that's wonderful.
All across America and in the prisons. We can't go in the prisons, but we had a DVD and send it to the chaplain. And we've seen over 3,000 inmates get saved.
That's awesome, man.
And we're in 16 different facilities here in the Mid-Atlantic, South and Southeastern United States, and we're looking for more prisons to be able to send those into.
Awesome. And check out the YouTube page as well. I'm going to get on there because I heard some good stuff on there.
If you want a good laugh, go to Jerry West TV, Jerry West TV, because that's easy for me to remember. And after you see it, you'll understand why I can't remember.
That's awesome.
But it's a lot. We love being a ministry. It's what God's called us to do, and we're going to keep doing it.
It's fun. Jerry, I want to thank you. We're out of time.
Appreciate it.
Man, this is a blast. You got to come back when we got more time.
I'd love to. I would love to.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow night with more Nightline. We love you, and we'll see you then.